Hi guys. Oh, welcome to my session. Tonight topic is going to be PowerShell deep dive to Excel. My name is Maximo Trinidad, and we're going to start this thing right now, as quick as possible. In order to speed up our session today, I'm going to go straight to the agenda, and basically this is what we're going through. Of course, most of us who are PowerShell experts by now know that the best way to do an export to an Excel file, the quick way will be just to, export to CSV. Just type, you know, uh, create the object, have properties and values, and then do the export dash CSV, and it will create a file and open in Excel for most part, right? Unless you have another application that only opens CSV files, that will be the only difference. Now, in this session, we're going to work with creating XLS or a XLSX type file. So that way you have the different ways to build such files. Then we're going to see the use of COM objects. You got to pick either COM objects or .NET objects. Here I'm leaning more towards the .NET objects. Okay. Within the scripts, you'll see the layers of building an Excel scripting code structure, and this way the script itself is very my feeling is you can understand what the code is, so, and you can add and remove pieces in there. Demo scripts will include tips, resources, and an example how to gather information from a log file, and then after that we have the object created. We're going to create the log file, which means it will create an Excel file, and then have a function that will generally will take a PS object and create an Excel file, and then of course a sample SMO to get the database size, which is building my object, and then I'll use the function to build the file. Okay. All right. So now let me go ahead and open my favorite editor. Give me a few couple minutes here when it loads. Any questions for now? Wow, dead silence.
We are on the expectation.
We are just amazed. You're doing a great job.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you that my laptop takes a lot of how do you call it? Takes a lot of time. It's an old laptop, so.
So Sapien has 2014 already.
Where you been? Jose,
I'm about to be a platinum.
You've been in the shadows for too long.
Yeah, more than a year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sadly, you've been traveling a lot.
Yeah, I'm almost platinum. I mean, about 3 or 4 more trips this year.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's what I say. Oh boy.
All right. Okay, so here we have. Yep, we do have 2014. I'm gonna make sure I can open. Here we go. Let's make sure I can open. Oh, is this there? No, it's here. Yeah, using my SkyDrive. And we go to our Excel folder. Dive. And let's see if I can load all of them. Let me see. Okie dokie. Right, yeah, they load them up. All right, let's start first with the tips and tricks. Okay, here in tips and tricks, and also it's a resource information script file. It's a nonsense. It's just giving you some fundamentals. Okay, some guidelines. All right, and let's start here with. Let's start here is this information I'm going to highlight here is from the MSDN on the .NET .NET Office Interop Excel, and this is about more about the range and subtotals information. And basically what it does is you have constants that you can use in order to provide an efficient way for the coding. And normally what it does is basically is this is the string you will use with a double semicolon and then use the constant's name. Okay, as you can see here, this is for different average, count, aggregations, okay, minimum product, etc. So you can do that following this format: Microsoft Office Interop Excel, open and close brackets, square brackets, and then 2 semicolons, and then you use the constant's name. And you'll see that in the code. Okay. Reason I'm showing this is because if you use the comma object, doesn't give you this ability. You need to use numbers, and normally it's like a negative and a number. So instead of using that, try to search for what number it is. So you can use a constant. And below here, like style alignment, the same thing, because you're using the .NET Microsoft Office Interop Excel, then you apply the same thing. You see, so you see the X align for button, for center, distributed, justified, and top. You'll see that in the code. A matter of fact, down here, I added a few more. Like sometimes Excel, the comma object needs to have a missing object, and the only way to provide that is it's not a null, but it's a type missing. Okay, because they have to convert whatever the comma object is in a .NET, so they build this one here. It's a system.type, and you see the double semicolon and missing. So when you look in the documentation, MSDN documentation, okay, how do I build this? And this have this parameter of missing, then this is the how you do it in scripting. Okay. And then here, 2 ways, right? This section here is what I'm saying about the alignment. If you use the this shows like if you use the comma object, you have to do an equal, and then use a negative number in order which identify this is the alignment. Just forget that. Just make sure use the whole .NET structure here, and you're better off, and you know what it's all about. Okay. This is a very good tip. Whenever you're working with building objects in your PowerShell console, the import CLI XML is the command you use to create an XML file from that object. And then you can, like, let's put it this way. Let's say you're working with a database object that when you are at home, you don't have access to. Well, guess what? Because you already save it, the PS object as an XML, you can import that XML and build your PS object. For every export, there's an import, and here I went reverse. I meant to show also the it's in the script, but there's an export CLI XML which create the XML file from a PS object, and then to rebuild that PS object, you use the import XLI XML. That way you can work offline and keep working on your object in case you don't have any connectivity to your source. You understand what I'm trying to say here? Be honest.
Yeah, I think so. Makes perfect sense, really.
Okay, because this is very important. Let's say you're working on building. In this case, this is what I use it for. I built a system log file, right? An object in PS object. And I went to event log. I create my PS object. I'm dragging out only warnings and errors so I can work with it. Okay, guess what? End of day. I don't have access to my server or wherever I go. I don't have any connectivity. But because I did an export CLI XML of that object, I can do the import and rebuild my PS object so I could keep working on it.
Yeah, can that be used also to pass objects statically? I don't know how to say it differently.
Yeah.
Between two different PowerShell
Remember,
scripts?
it's a PS object, so you have properties, method, it's still there.
Right. So let's say I have an object that I want to reuse on some other piece of code for other purpose. I guess I can export that object and and import that on that different script.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you could. Because it maintains its types, its data types.
Internally,
it maintains its properties, its methods. So when you rebuild it, it's like you're working, but you're disconnected. You know? You can still consume that object the way it was before.
Right.
Okay?
Okay, makes sense.
That is, I don't know if many people have really understand that part, but this is critical, because if I have a project that for some reason I'm disconnected from the network, but I still have the object in an XML format, I can import that and build my PowerShell object again and keep working on it.
Yeah, you see it as transportability, which is fine. What I'm seeing is that that object can be shared among different applications, you know.
Yeah, no, true, exactly.
I mean, no real time, of course, no real time, but you know, you have that object for one application doing something. Yeah. Okay.
For that purpose, yes, yeah, because while you are in a PowerShell console, you only you only have your objects active at that moment of your session. When it's gone, it's gone. When you close that console, it's gone.
It's gone.
Well,
so that way you preserve
this will allow you portability.
Correct.
Okay.
Hey Max, in your other code, are you showing the export CLI XML example?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let me have it down here. Oh, there it is. I have it here. Sorry. I think I meant to clean this up and put it more organized, so that's okay. You know that the import will read the file, whatever your format, and the export will export it to an XML, and the import will build your PowerShell object. That's how you see it, okay? All right, so the next two highlighted lines here, and let me, you know what? Let me increase this a little bit more. Okay, so the next few lines in here will show you the way to build an Excel object. One is we're using a new object dash com object, which is, okay, this is the com object namespace, so you can build it. It's going to be the same thing, okay, except when you use PowerShell, you first load the assembly, and then you can use the object. And I just realized something here. I got that, and this loads the assembly, but I need to build, and the object is different. Let me just fix this, because I don't want to pass this along the wrong way. There you go. This is what I'm missing. Sorry guys, hold on a second. Let me paste this there, because this is important. Okay, here we go. There you go. Alright, so you load the assembly, which is the Microsoft Office Interop Excel, and this is how you build your object. Now this 2-line of code will build you the .NET object, but it's still, remember, it's a wrapper. Way deep inside that object is still going to become a com object, okay? And
so you need the load with partial name line there You need both lines, basically,
Yeah.
is what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay.
Well. In order to comply with this, you need to have Excel loaded. That's that's a requirement. And with Excel loaded, then you have both the old way, which is the COM object Excel.application or Word or PowerPoint. But the true direction, you also will have the wrapper, which is so that you can use the .NET with it, which is the Microsoft Office Interrupt Excel dot application class. It
Okay.
wraps about the old COM object. Okay.
And you said you have to have the application running for these to actually take effect.
You have to have the application installed.
Install.
Or it will not roll. The only way this will your script will work if Excel is loaded on the machine.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be running or executing. Just
We'll
installed.
go. We'll go in there. We're getting closer. Remember,
Okay.
this is the bits and pieces. This is all the little tips and tricks.
Understood.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. This is the some separate components here and there, just scattered. It is. But everything will make more sense when I go into the actual Excel script. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So now here I have a tip. How many times you would like to create a report title with date and hours and minutes, right? Well, I'm providing it here. This is the miracle. This is how it happened. Okay? This little one-liner here, beside the fact of having the directory, report name, this highlighted section is what will build your date and time for your report, so that way
on the file name, you mean?
It save it, huh?
On the file name.
Yep.
You want the file name to have the date and time.
Exactly. So here, let's do this. As a matter of fact, okay, hold on a second. Let me do this. Let's run in console. Bring me the console. There you go. There you go. Give it time. There you go. Do it here. As you can see here, there it is. That's how it's going to look. That file name is going to have that date and time stamp.
Yeah.
And this has all happened because of this. Which something that you can do, just highlight and just execute that piece of the code, and as you can see, this is the result. So you can do some troubleshooting there, okay, let me see how this thing looks. 7/26/32, as you know, is going to be non-military time. There's a way that you can set this thing up to be military time also. So you can look at the .NET information on string formatting. Okay? So I'm providing that for you there. Now the trick, now moving along, the trick for identifying, okay, I'm going to save after an XLS and or Excel, which means as an Excel 2007 and then as an 2010 or as an Excel 2013, then this is a trick here. This is the one-liner after you create the Excel object, active workbook, save as, and this is the format, what it needs to have in order to save as an XLSX. Excel workbook default as a constant. Okay? And below, then I'll show you what you need, the block of code that you need to do for saving as an Excel 2010 or Excel 2000 2007 2013. There you go. Okay, another constant. That's it. And then at the end, you close. You've closed the workbook. That will see, okay, that it's safe at that time. Okay. And then again, of course, is the basic way to create a CSV file. It's the basic format. This will override whatever existing file is there. Just basically, just make sure you identify the name of the report, show here a different format, okay, a different variation. This thing only save it with a date. There's no time in it. And in basically object, PS object, and then an export CSV with a path which is already defined in a variable here, okay? So this is little piece and pieces that, I mean, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be right exiting to an Excel file, but I mean anything. You know, you can use the structure here. Then again, the last few block of code here, use the proper example of, okay, first export the object, the PowerShell object, and as an XML, and here it is, right? And then below we show you how to import to create that object again. Okay, that will override the object, existing object. I don't know if you notice, I'm using global. Why do I use global? Because at least if by any chance I need to consume that object deeper in a what I call it, a conditional statement, that sometimes, you know, we lose the content of that variable due to scoping, this will leave it open. That's the reason I'm using global, because I can pass that information deeper in a condition statement. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jose. Am I okay?
Yeah, what you're saying, yeah, you basically want to make it available no matter where you are.
Exactly. And this is because I've seen it that sometimes you will lose some, you will lose the scope, will lose the data, you know.
Yeah.
So these are little bits and pieces that you can use, and possibly I could add a few more, but essentially, you know, all the rest information. I find a couple of websites in here that everything that is MSDN is good, right? Everything that is older than that, well, you know, it's good, but could be old, doesn't follow the .NET, and what I found is that if you have already built a Excel solution, a scripting solution, Excel in PowerShell, using COM object, honestly, the rest will work. The tweaking will be just these two lines. These two, the reflection and creating the object, replace, it's two line, but we'll replace this one. The actual new object, COM object.
Yeah.
This one is replaced by the .NET ones. The rest stays the same because, again, the .NET is a wrapper around the COM object, so it will be okay. All right, I already test that.
So I'm not sure what the benefit between the old way and the new way using .NET Object is. Can you clarify that for me?
Yeah. What we're trying to show you here was the use of constants. If you don't use this in a COM object, then you have to figure it out.
Oh, with the number. That's right.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's out there, but you got to search for it. This way, you know, the MSDN library, the MSDN documentation will give you, this is the constant. Yeah, you got to type a little longer, but you type it once, right? Then it's much easier next time you're going to work with it. But at least it's there. It's readable too.
Yes.
You know? For those other objects that says missing, here it is, this solution. This is what we're replacing with. Okay? And then, of course, that's why I gave you a list here of all the, you know, the list of the aggregation, which are constants. And you see this a little bit deeper on my next script. Okay? So, okay, so let's move along on this. I mean, did it help? I mean, maybe the I mean, you know what? If it's working, it's fine. You know, but in this way, I mean, you're sticking only to .NET. It still is COM behind the scene, but at least the scripting remains all .NET. At least for me, that's important. You know, sticking to what type of technology.
It's essentially cleaner code too. It makes it more readable.
Exactly, but that's why look. Just here I have a series of MSDN which helped me build the following scripts. Other than that, I found some interesting reading, on how to build Excel file. But of course, it uses more COM object. So you have the best of both worlds. And at least, I'm just trying to concentrate on using pure .NET. Just stick to .NET. I want to go back to, because when you build the objects, it's more .NET objects. You don't have to deal with the COM objects. Well, at least it's my feeling, But
here's a question: can you do everything either way?
No, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Okay. Difference is just, what I show you.
Understood.
Yeah. Yes, you can. There's no reason why not. I'm just trying to keep everything .NET. I was just stepping away from the COM objects.
Sure.
But Microsoft haven't come up with a solution of replacing the COM object. That's why they built a wrapper. This is what it's all about, a wrapper. And you need to do the load reflection in order to load the assembly. Beside that, just you can use straight COM, just because you don't have to load it, it's already available. At least this is my understanding there too. So it's more a practical thing. Okay.
Yep.
That's why giving this little tips at least, But then again, here we are. We got this is a procedure that I'm making available. That basically is this can be enhanced. Okay, I could build a function from this, but I haven't had the time to do this. I do this at work. I got a couple servers that I monitored, and basically this step, trap system log data, what it does is selects errors and warning from the previous day. And this is how I use the get event log, and I capture that information and build an object. And is selecting all the system from the system log and everything from the application log. And this piece here will add those two results of the objects and build one. That's normally what it does. And then of course you check that if either or both are blank, don't do anything, right? Just skip it. It finished. There's no errors, there's no warning. As you know, that doesn't exist anymore, right? There's always an error, there's always a warning. And this is how we merge the objects here. So when I merge the objects, I have an option that I could display the object on OGV. What's OGV? Come on, guys. What's OGV?
Out grid view.
There you go. Nice.
How was that one? How was that? OGV? What was it?
Out grid view.
Can you spell it for me, please?
There you go.
Go ahead.
There it is. Yeah, this is the alias. I did a Unforgiven here, right? I was supposed to use the full command name.
Okay. I know that one.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and so when you're sure this is working, you can comment it out and just build the object, and because it's available after it ends, that you can continue with it, right? Then here, after I build the object, what do? Well, I just go ahead and this is something that I'm running manually. Okay, so you'll see an import here, which I don't need. But then again, here's what I load my assembly and I start building my Excel. Okay, this is added here just in case if I wanted to if I have the document saved, right? I did an export. I'm working at home. Then I do an import to create my object. And the object can consume after my .NET assembly for Excel is loaded, object is created, and then here is when I'm gonna add, okay, object visible 0. Why? Because if you leave it, the default is 1.
It's
So
running in
if
the
you
background.
leave it 1, it will open the Excel sheet on your screen. Okay? So you want to leave it 0.
If I remember, there are a few modalities, like you open in the background, you open minimize, you open on full screen. I just don't remember that, but there are those options.
Yeah, well, for now, I'm just showing 1 or 0. It might be a 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? So, but for now, I'm just giving you guys 1 and 0. 1 will open Excel, 0 will leave it in the background. Okay? The next step will be add to the object the workbook and the worksheet. This is see, number 1 worksheet. That will give it only one worksheet when the Excel application opens, right? And I forgot to mention that you will hear my dogs because my wife is coming from out.
Okay.
And they will not shut up until Mama comes in. So you're gonna hear my alarm. These are my winner's alarm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's funny. It's that there goes, well, at least nobody's gonna come here on notice. All right, so I got the workbook, 1 worksheet. That's why I have 1 in here. It's only 1. Normally, when you open Excel application, will open by default 3, right? On the older version, you're gonna open three sheets. This is only 1. Now, what do I need to do here? Well, I need to build my columns headings. Hold on a second. Let me